We're here today at the Illyrian Cafe in Eccles with the local councillors McCusker, Sharmina August and John Mullen. We're here to answer the questions that have been put to us regarding the future of the Eccles precinct. Some of them are strange to say the least, but we'll ask them, yeah. First of all, boys and girls, where's the council found the money from to purchase the shopping centre? Will it be torn down completely? Will sections of it be kept maintained? And will the current shop owners be given renewed contracts?
Well, the situation on the existing shop owners is that that's going to be maintained. It's going to be business as usual. The thing is, this is going to take some time. We don't want it to take a lot of time. But the first thing we need to do is work out what the vision is going to be. We've talked to 600 residents about that, about what their views are. We've got our own views. We really need to solidify that, and by doing that we're going to come back with plans based on what residents have said and then have further discussions. So what it looks like in the end is really going to be steered by local people. In terms of where the money comes from, obviously we've got a capital budget. It came as a huge shock to me when I became a councillor. I presumed that the money came from government, but we have to raise our own funding in most instances. So each year we'll put together a pot that's built of grant funding that we're getting for capital projects from government and other sources, and then we'll look to fund things ourselves, and that'll be through borrowing. We do a lot through borrowing. So we come to an overall budget, and within that we found the 4.1 million. The reason we're doing it now is because we've tried for years basically to try and work with Threadneedle. So Threadneedle is the investment management company which is managing Zurich Finance's money, which is the investment that property is the investment for. But they manage £500 million worth of investments. They don't really care. Obviously, in recent years, especially with what happened during lockdown, it's not viable as a business for them, so therefore it becomes a drain rather than an asset for them, and they've reached the point where they want to get out. So it's just too good an opportunity really for us to pick that up for 4.1 million, whereas in the past they might be looking at 5 times that if we wanted to purchase it. So it becomes doable.
Well, and what I will be asked is constantly, is it going to be demolished?
I would demolish it.
Is that your personal point of view, though?
That's my personal point of view. As we said, that came back very strongly with the 600 people that we talked to. Knock it down was a very strong theme. I would knock it down. I just think it's beyond tinkering with. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But I don't know what.
Well, I think that's the whole point of making sure that what we do going forward is about what the residents actually want to do. We've talked to 600 people, which is a lot of people, but there's a lot more people who care about what's happening in Eccles. So personally, I do think that if we flattened it, along with the monstrosity of the multi-storey car park, we could do something really special here in Eccles. I think the design doesn't really work anymore, but it's not our decision. Any plans that we come up with, we'll be doing it in consultation with businesses and with residents, and then we'll go out to public consultation. We won't just say we've talked to you and we've come up with a plan, here's our great plan and we're doing it. We'll go out and say, well, what do you think of our actual plan? We're not going to do anything that is bad for our town centre, but we know that we don't have all the answers.
Yeah, the people are really motivated for some reason right now to talk to us about it, because in the past you couldn't really get a clear answer. It was always like, oh, bring back the old markets and stuff like that, but we're beyond that. That's not a reality. However, that could be incorporated into a new design. So you talk about some of the transformations that happened at Altrincham. We need the people of Eccles to come forward with their ideas. We've had an initial consultation, but there's more to be done, so we're really looking forward to hearing what they've got to say.
Yeah, I think the thing about the original consultation was, what if we could get hold of it? Do you know what I mean? What would you do if? I think more people now get engaged because it's a reality. They know we've got that foothold, which is the only foothold we've got within Eccles Town Centre. Everything else is privately owned. Since it was built, the mall itself has been privately owned.
We've always tried to work with it. We've not been able to do the things that we want to do. Nobody wanted to see the town centre in the way it is now, and it's really frustrating. Like I've only been a councillor for 3 years now, but since before then, it's always been like, let's sort out the shopping centre, let's sort it out. And when you don't have the control of it, it's impossible.
I remember when the new signage and the bollards went up, and I thought, is that it?
Yeah.
So what is the council doing to encourage new businesses coming to the precinct?
Well, go on.
I mean, obviously, the last 5 years, we've seen huge growth across the city. So we've seen 15,000 people moving into the city. So the last 5 years, we've seen about 14,500 houses built, 2,000 new businesses, a 20% increase in businesses registered in Salford. But we're not seeing it in Eccles, you know what I mean? So this is all about our turn. When I was elected 5 years ago, and one of the key things was, how do we get more investment into Eccles? And I think this has been a great opportunity for us, just because of timing, to be able to purchase the centre. But if you look around, there is investment. People are obviously keen. We've got the towers going up, the top of Church Street opposite the station, the other one planned on the Vauxhall garage. We've been talking to businesses in Monton, because what we were saying to them was, surely you could have the same success in Eccles in a redevelopment. So it's about talking to existing local businesses to see, you know, and they're saying, yeah, we're keeping our eye on Monton, you know, and you see it in the trade press as well. People saying, you know, Monton's the next place to watch in Greater Manchester. So I think this purchase will really attract more people. They're suddenly going to start thinking, well, if this is all changing, just look at the transport links we've got with the bus station, with the metro, with the access to the motorway, with the train station, 8 minutes from Victoria Station. It's a no-brainer, I think. You know, we're on the doorstep of the Trafford Centre. It just makes perfect sense, I think.
What say the question of the open market returning? That seems to be a big thing with the people of Eccles. They will have remembered one from their earlier days of the youth. It's with the market behind me here.
Yeah.
The indoor one has never taken off, has it, in the precinct, really? It hasn't. Do you think there's any future for an indoor market, or
Indoor market?
Or an open market on the Church
I think
Street?
it can be, I think it can be re-envisioned. It's been successful in a number of areas in the country. It won't be like people remember it with Elsie and the chickens and whatnot, but we can do something along the lines, and we're thinking from what we've heard is that potentially it could also become part of the nighttime economy as well. So it won't be just a market, it'll be sustainable in that it could be more than a market.
Exactly, Eccles is a market town, and I think it'd be criminal to lose
Of course,
that.
yeah. It's
But
about
what type of market that is, what form that takes, that's up for discussion and how we do it. And that's why we need to speak to residents and get their ideas, because we could set up the best thing in the world, but if nobody comes to it, it's going to fail, and we don't want it to fail. So we need it to happen in conjunction with residents. What will you actually use? What will you actually come to and support? What will people actually want to set up as a business in here? And then what's sustainable? So, you know, something like the nighttime economy. How do you make sure that we're creating the vibrant economy that we need to have here in Eccles? But people need to come up with ideas for us.
I mean, one thing I really like about markets, outdoor or indoor, I mean, a lot of the existing stallholders within the inside market wouldn't want to go outside. I think it's a young person's game, really, and that leads into the point.
I don't want to go outside either.
It can be a first step for people to take, you know. So you're a clothes designer, or you make your own chocolate or whatever. You can't afford to rent out a full unit, but could I try out this idea to see if it works? So I think ideas linked to, you know, job support or support into work. You know, I think open markets can play their role. There's all the practicalities about what do you do with the stalls. You've got them all down Church Street. What do you do at night? You take them all down, you put them all out. You know, all the logistics of it. However, that's one idea I think is definitely worth exploring, but we'd like to hear residents' views on that.
Another question that we've been bombarded with, and some of it's rather silly actually. Investors. Have any investors been in contact, or are you working with them? So far we've heard the Chinese, Peel, Centrica. Can these be dismissed? Or?
Yeah, it's a load of waffle.
Yeah, that's waffle. There is Chinese investment in Eccles now. So
Yeah, of
the
course.
towers are going up.
Yeah.
That's Chinese investment.
Yeah.
The Milton Hotel, which I love the name of, the Milton, that's Chinese investors. So
But
in any
yeah.
sort of redevelopment or
Yeah.
where something becomes attractive proposition, you will get investors from across
But
the
in
world.
terms of what
looking.
we're
But in
doing at the
terms of-
moment,
we're not talking to
the purchase was funded fully by the council of the precinct. There's no investors involved in there, and if we ever were to have a development party, that's way down the line. And I think it's silly to be saying things like we're in
cahoots with
cahoots
the Chinese.
with the Chinese. Yeah, there's a billion
I've
Chinese
not
people in
mentioned
the
brown
world.
envelopes
Yeah.
yet. Excellent to mention. There's so many questions really, but you've answered most of them. People are asking us about if the precinct does get revitalised, will there be open air drinking, eating in there, and will there be adequate police? Like antisocial behaviour of late, will that be monitored?
Well, I suppose there is different. There's an issue around daytime drinking within Eccles Town Centre at the moment, and we work with the health people and the police, and about working with the shops to try and make sure that you don't do very small alcohol sales during the day. So that's something that always needs to be treated. But I think it's about the atmosphere. If you go to Altrincham, people can eat and drink all day within the market there, but it's not a huge ASB problem because it's a change of atmosphere really. It's about families, it's about...
Yeah.
I mean, Monton has very little really antisocial behaviour considering the concentration, but it is something we always keep an eye on. We're always working with residents where they've got issues around it, and with the owners of the bars and restaurants, and with the police. So we've got really good neighbourhood working in this area.
I'm looking for the steer from the people on that particular one. I mean, for me, I'd love that cafe culture type atmosphere because, like you say, once you get that, ASB goes away. But of course, as the designs come on, you would take all of that into consideration. You wouldn't build places where like a dark and stuff like that. We're hoping it's going to be light, open, and with that and green. Yeah.
I mean that's part of the problem with the precinct as I see it at the moment. It's closed off. You have to go through some narrow bits to get into it.
It's all inward looking.
Yeah, and it's all inward looking. My vision, and like I said, everyone has a different vision. It's something open, it's green space, but it's also maybe bringing more people to live in Eccles as well, in a different type of place where you can live, work, and enjoy yourself. In Eccles, you don't have to go out of Eccles to go work. You don't have to have your kids move out and move further out to find a house. You don't have to go into Media City, into Trafford Centre, into Manchester to have some entertainment. You should be able to do all of that in our town.
Sure, yeah. So, what would be your own personal visions for the Eccles precinct area?
Well, I'll go first. Go on then.
They're all going to be different.
They're all going to be different.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
I do hope that we do get some kind of market back again, as I say, so that we become like what we say are on the tin, a historic market town. Definitely want some green space, and one of the things I'm going to be campaigning for, and I think we've kind of missed, is step-free access for the train station, so that when we do, as the Field of Dreams say, when we build it and they come, that they can actually get to us via trains as well. So I think that we need to be working hard on that particular piece, but as part of that, of course, is the railway heritage. I want to see a lot more of the heritage trails and stuff like that can be built into this thing. So as much as you can tell me, the public, I'd be happy to support all that kind of thing. I'm sure they would.
I certainly would, John. Michael, what would you say?
Well, I want it more open, that whole thing about it. It looks like Soviet era concrete monstrosity, something that's
Brutalism.
open, that's light, and that's green. As I said, I'm keen on market provision that's about stepping stones for local people to think about business themselves and to be supported in that way. I want a nighttime economy. I think there's more than enough, for Monton to share some of the love with Eccles in terms of that and some of the expertise that Monton's got to come here. I'm really interested in the heritage angle. Obviously we've got the church there, it's magnificent, one of the oldest buildings in Salford. We've got the first railway station, I think other cities would have made a lot more of that, do you know what I mean? York could become a centre of railway heritage.
Let's not forget our good old Eccles cake as well, that's part of the heritage as well. Yeah.
So that's me.
What would you like to see, Sharmina?
But I think more people living in the town centre as well, that's going to be crucial.
Right. Well, I think you'll be getting that with the high-rise, won't you?
Yeah, but when I first became a councillor, I talked to the regen people and they said you need 10,000 more people living in Eccles if you're going to regenerate it. If it's going to become self-generating. So I think people living as well as part of this.
I don't want to build 10,000 houses in where the precinct is, to put that on record. It's not going to be like mega city in Judge Shred, it's not going to be like that. But I do think we need some more housing here, affordable housing here. They've stolen a lot of my ideas, but I think what I see as quite important is having independent businesses here. If we're going to compete with somewhere like Trafford Centre, it's going to fail because we're not the Trafford Centre. We're not going to have John Lewis come to Eccles, but what we can have is really special independent businesses, and we've got Salford CBS here in Eccles. We could have more of our social enterprises, some great schemes that I've seen, like community laundries that at night time they're like a bar, and in the daytime they employ people on apprenticeships and all sorts of things, and have a laundry facility, and they do all the sheets for like the Lowry and stuff, and hotels. We could have stuff like that as well as a nighttime economy, as restaurants, cafes. I think we need to think about what people will actually come to. They can't order a nice night out on Amazon, hopefully, but they can come out to Eccles and have a nice time. But I think we need more housing here. We definitely need a bit more green space here. Eccles has some of the lowest amount of green space in the city, unfortunately, and we need to make sure that Eccles is somewhere people can stay, to live, to work, to play.
I personally would like to see, I can remember the precinct, not so long ago, we used to have a Boots's chemist. There's not one chemist in the precinct. There's not one butcher's. I know Morrison's, they've virtually killed that off. There used to be a greengrocers, there used to be a fishmongers. I'd like to see a return. I know it may be a bit pie in the sky, but I'd like to see a return to that.
I don't think it's pie in the sky. If you look at Monton, we've got exactly that. We've got a brand new butcher's, a brand new fish place. All the things you're talking about there.
We've got a little chemist.
They're expensive in Monton.
Of course.
And we have to balance what people can afford as well. We have to think about that. And offer which goes across the board.
We need to make it what it can be. So it could be the butcher's comes to the market. It could be something like that. But it's not about gentrifying the area and making it unaffordable for people. It still needs to be right for the people who live here already. We don't want to make it so alien to people that they feel like they just have to move further and further out to somewhere where they can afford. That's not what it's about. But we need to make sure that it thrives, and we can only do that when residents tell us what they will actually use.
Have we got a date for the next consultation?
Well, I think what we're going to do next is we're going to take the original suggestions that people have given us so far and start doing some rough drawings. Do you know what I mean? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? So that we can go back to people. So they've got something to look at and pick at rather than a concept. But I think as Sharmina has said there, it's an incredibly difficult balancing act, balancing all the things that we've said here about and still make a success of it.
I think we are going to be having more public meetings, so people will get an opportunity to let us know what they think. And as I say, I'm feeling the vibe at the moment that people want to tell us. So,
and that is a very strong feeling.
We want to listen, seriously want to listen.
The final question, Eccles Christmas tree in the precinct. Now you're in charge of it. Is it going to be a good one?
going to be massive.
You better add
It's going to be
me,
absolutely massive.
because the stick you get over the little one outside the town hall.
Yes, that's not something that we're in control of, that tiny one. I have
No, but you're to blame personally.
I've personally looked up the size of Christmas trees and how big a Christmas tree I can get for you, Tony. So next year we'll get you a massive one.
We're going to get a celeb to open it.
Yeah.
Tony.
Oh, right, I thought you were going to put him on it.
It's going to be on the top of it like
Well,
an
the
angel.
first time. Right, I think we've answered all the questions, have we, Carl? Yeah. Thanks ever so much for coming down, speaking to us. I'd like to thank Irvis for actually letting us use his facilities. Irvis, to me, is a great example of what can be done in Eccles.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Independent businesses serving
Exactly what we
great
want.
food, bringing people into the area.
Spot on. Hope that's answered all your questions. Cheers.